Hi, my name is Angelina Karji, and I have a passion for fashion. I love fashion because for me, it's one of the best ways to express yourself, how you're feeling, and to make a statement. And I love styling. I've always loved fashion and putting things together. I think it reflects a big part of who I am as a person and my personality.
Hi, my name is Maria Bragamova, and I'm a fashion design major. I attend FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology. And what inspires me about fashion is it was a designer named Nicholas Ghesquiere. He's designing for the House of Balenciaga. And I love his collections. They always come out very futuristic and very clean cut, and they're always amusing to me. And he's my inspiration to why I want to be a designer. And then there's also a young designer, Alexander McQueen.
I think media plays a big part in fashion in a negative way because I definitely do think fashion would exist without the media. If you think about it, we have to wear clothes, and wearing clothes is fashion. Fashion is not just couture or dressing up and wearing expensive things. You buy a $5 shirt, that's fashion. So I think that the media plays a big part as making fashion negative. In the magazines, like in Vogue, you will never see like a thicker person on Vogue. They're always pin thin models. In every fashion magazine, that's what they focus on. That's not what fashion is. Fashion is your lifestyle. It's the way you present yourself. It's you expressing yourself and who you are as a person and making statements. And when people look at you and they see what you wear, they can tell a lot about who you are, your style, because it reflects you as a person. So I think that in a negative way, media does play a big part in fashion, but fashion would definitely exist without the media. I don't think the designers are influenced by the media just because the media looks to the designers to see what's in and what's hot, and that's what they base their magazines on. So if the designers had no collection, then the media wouldn't really have anything to talk about. And I think that the designers, when they're in fashion school and they're learning how to sketch and to draw, like they're taught that it has to be skinny models that they have to draw and design for, so that mind frame they just kind of sticks with them throughout their career. So that's just what they're taught, and I guess they stick to it.
If I think back to the times when designers always use images of women being extremely thin. It doesn't matter how back in the era that it went, what time period it was. It doesn't matter. They always drew them very graceful and thin. And I think depending on the era though, how women that wore those clothes, they weren't drawn that way. They were drawn thin, but when they came to life, like say the 1950s, when women um, were allowed to be more curvaceous, and they had pinup girl magazines, and the women were more curvier, so it wasn't really restricted. Women were not thin. I don't think designers really created that idea. I think I think it depended on the time period. The way which the media portrays it is negative because of the fact that a lot of young women see these fashion models on the runway and they think that's how they're supposed to look like, how their body is supposed to look like, and they don't eat, or if they eat, they throw their food up and they become very unhealthy, and they think it's attractive to be thinner, so they don't embrace the way their body's supposed to be because at a different age and height and all of that affects how your body's supposed to be proportioned and how you take care of yourself. And some young women are afraid of that, and they just want to be just like the models because they think that's what's beautiful, because that's what all the designers have. And the famous designers like Versace or Dolce & Gabbana, Gucci, those designers' clothes are on thin women, and they don't really have any curvy women. But if you look at designers like Vivienne Westwood, who exaggerate the hips and the bust and actually portray women how they really look.
If a designer was to make a fashion line for thicker models, or for thicker people in general, thicker women, then the media would play on that, and that's what would be in, because it's the designers that make that state that make it for the magazines, whether or not something looks good, because the magazines don't come up with it themselves. They feed off of whatever the designers do. So I think that the image about being skinny really starts off with the designer and what they're really, who they're designing for.